Hello, welcome to the Double M Farm. Figured it was about time to do an update on Dumpy, the Suzuki Carry mini truck, K-truck. If you saw the last video, you saw our introduction of Dumpy, and you saw all of the faded paint and rust and other things. Well, we've given him a good going through and thought this would be a good time to do a little walkthrough and show you how he's doing and what he's doing. As you can see, we've gotten some paint on him. Painted the front bumper, painted the windshield wiper arms, put his name on the front. Took that front coil cover that's got the word Suzuki on it. I took that off and painted it. And then the main part was the back. That's where all of the real rust was. And we got a piece of 2-inch angle iron. You can see it sticking out here, and some weld. And what I did was I ground it down with an angle grinder, and then this angle iron is here and goes up on the inside. You can see it on the other one over there, I believe, where I've got it welded on. Just ground it down till there was basically a hole there from all the rust, and then welded that angle iron along the edge there and on this side. Welded it up, sealed it up, filled in a few holes with some steel putty, and then I painted the inside with Herculiner, roll-on. Well, it says to use a roller. I actually found it went on better with a brush than with a roller. But at any rate, we got it on. You can see it's dirty because I've been using it. The dump works well. I've hauled some dirt and some wood in it, so I've got it dirty. But the Herculiner held up well, didn't chip or peel or tear. So we're very pleased so far with what little Dumpy has done. Here's a view from the back. As I told you in the previous video, we don't have a title. We got it really cheap because of the rust and for the fact that there was no title, just strictly a bill of sale. And so what I've done, I've put the farm use tag and the orange triangle on it. And around here, in my area, in my county, the Leos leave us alone. It's no different than driving a tractor or combine or anything else farm use on the highway. So as long as I act like I've got some sense when I'm driving, they leave me alone. When I painted the tailgate, I did tape up the two stickers there, the Suzuki Carry and four-wheel drive stickers, just because they were original, and I wanted to keep them. The body itself, the cab, I just did a little touch-up paint here and there where there were dents and scratches. Didn't really try to match up anything. And let's see, we've got, get this. This is the manual that was in the pocket. Of course, it's in Japanese. But I'll show you. This was in the pocket. I believe it is a pencil. That's lead. It writes. And it says Okinawa, Japan. And I am assuming this is to clip it in your shirt pocket. So it's a Japanese pencil. Construction crew, I guess, because that's what this truck was used for. And I thought it was pretty neat. It was in the pocket. So we have that as a souvenir. A few things that may help someone who has a Suzuki Carry. This is a 1994. So that's what these parts will be pertaining to. And I'm sure a few years within that, because they didn't change a lot for a few years. So probably, I'm guessing, 90, 91 to 94, 95. And anything in between would probably use some of these. That's the timing belt. A Gates timing belt. I got this, believe it or not, through Napa. They did have a listing for it. So there is your number for a Gates timing belt that will fit a 94 Suzuki Carry. So that's some good information for anyone who has one of these or is looking to buy one. And I never know if I've got this upside down or not because it's all in Japanese. But I did find this information, which I'm sure, try to hold it on camera here so you can see it. The oil plug is a 17 millimeter. That may save someone some time when you're doing an oil change. Oil filters, I have found that a Wix oil filter in the 51348 will work. And in the Fram oil filter, a pH 4967 will work. So there are 2 oil filters to save someone some time for trying to find them. And then the Purolator air filter is A25456. That's A25456, and the Purolator air filter will also work on this 94 Suzuki Carry. This is a DD51B, which is a little uncommon. It's a hard number to research and find because that is the heavier duty version. The DD51T is the typical Suzuki Carry. This one has the heavier body, which is pretty neat. I didn't realize that until I started doing some research. So that's a nice extra that we came up with. Throw those back in there. Everything has been working great. I was a little sloppy with my bed liner up on top of the tailgate there, but big deal. The tailgate, you can rolls down, folds down, just like a typical tailgate that way. It's a little complicated because you have to make sure you get the sides lined up because the sides do fold down. But there you go. Tailgate's back in place. And then you can raise the bed for dumping. And it releases at the bottom. You have to switch it on. The switch is here on the dashboard. And there she goes. I haven't done anything to the underneath of the dump bed. You can see there's a little bit of surface rust, but no major rust. And what happens when you raise the dump bed, it releases this spring-loaded arm. There's one on either side, which releases the bottom hinge on the tailgate, allowing it to swing out for dumping. And it's still a little stiff. I've been lubricating it. It's still a little bit stiff. Sometimes I have to help it close when I put it back down. But there you can see how well it dumps and how high up it goes. And while we have it up, you can look underneath. Spare tire typically goes there. I've got the spare tire rack. I took it out for painting and cleaning, and I don't have a spare tire. I didn't have one when I bought it, so I'll have to get a spare tire. There you can see the transmission and drive shaft. This is a removable plate, 4 screws, 4 bolts, and you can get to the back end of the motor. Carburetor and distributor are all right here, easy to access. And then on the inside, cut that off so the radio doesn't drown me out. Very easy access to the motor. Take the seat out. So if I can do this without disturbing the camera. I'm not sure how well that's showing up on camera, but there's the alternator. There's an idle adjustment screw, fan belt, timing belt cover. I'm very lucky on this one. Timing belt, I bought that timing belt and then found out by finding a sticker on the timing belt cover that the timing belt was just changed 10,000 kilometers ago. It was changed at 121,000 kilometers and it currently has 131,000 kilometers. So, I don't have to do a timing belt for a while. See if we can get this seat back in there without knocking the camera down. And it very simply slides in place. One latch. And there you go. You've closed your hood. So, well, you have to have the ignition switch to at least ACC for the dump to operate. And let's see if the tailgate will come down on its own or if I'm going to have to help it. It didn't quite catch. That's a problem I'm having because it's stiff. And see, now it won't catch because this is in the way. So I'll have to raise it back up slightly. And push it into place. It's still stiff. Now that I've got it pushed into place, when I lower it, those arms will catch it and lock it in place. And now she should be locked in, and she is. So, this is a 1994. I believe I said on my original video that it was a 93. It turns out it's a 94. I did a research. The serial number, model and serial number, is stamped here on the fender well inside the cab. But when I tried to research that one, it wouldn't come up. Like I said, the DD51B seems to be a heavier duty model, and it wasn't coming up. It kept saying unfound, not found. But in Japan and really everywhere, but they're real strict on it in Japan. Seatbelts have to be brand new when they're installed. They will, for safety reasons, they will not allow a used seatbelt or an old seatbelt to be used in a new vehicle. So they have to use a seatbelt manufactured the same year as the vehicle. And right here on the label, which I'm sure isn't showing up on camera, but it says 1994, manufacture date of the seatbelt. So that should be within 6 months of the manufacture date of the vehicle. There are, for anyone who is working on one of these, underneath here, under the dash, is a knob. Another one on the other side. You twist that knob to release this panel. And when you release it, this panel snaps off and your radiator access is right here. Radiator cap. And you may be able to see the radiator on camera. It's behind this bumper, if you want to call that a bumper. It's just a big piece of plastic. Also, once you release and remove that panel with Suzuki written on it, you can get to the upper screws that will allow you to remove that bumper, which is what I did so that I could paint it. Don't ever worry about electrical on these things. It's very simple. The whole vehicle has been very simple to operate and to work on so far. Parts, for the most part, are pretty easy to get. You can do searches on eBay and Amazon and pretty much anywhere on the internet and find just about anything. Tires can be a little bit tricky. These are the stock rims. It's a 12-inch rim that comes stock on these things. And those tires are Dunlops, just street tires. And it is a 145, make sure I say it right. It's a 145 R12. But if you want to go to a more aggressive tire, a 23 812 ATV, UTV off-road tire will fit these stock rims without rubbing anywhere. And then a 23, you could probably even go as much as a 24 or 25, but any taller than that, you're going to start getting rubbing when you're steering. But a 23 812 will fit those stock rims and not rub and give you a little more clearance. Lift it up probably inch and a half higher off the ground. So that's another little tidbit for anyone considering one of these. If you're looking at buying a UTV, side-by-side ATV for your farm, look at these things. Do a little research on mini trucks. And you'll find out, if you shop around, you can buy one of these things cheaper than you can buy an ATV, UTV, side-by-side, whatever you want to call them. The inside, I've got to do some seat covers. I'm going to try. I've seen a couple of guys on the internet that just got some little cheap Jeep bucket seat covers and were able to adapt them and make them work. And that's probably what I'll do. I don't want to spend a lot of money on seat covers. Put a radio in it. The radio that was in this thing was a Japanese. The radio that was put in Japan, and it didn't pick up anything very good. And I put in this little radio that I ordered off the internet, off Amazon, or I may have gotten it off eBay. I don't remember. It has the speakers built in, and the volume knob is right in the middle, and it's working real well. I went with that one because, as you can see, the cab of these things, you don't have a lot of room to put extras, and I didn't want to have to run wires and mount speakers. Probably the best place to mount them would have been overhead, and that just seemed like a lot to do. And I don't even know if it'll turn that radio down. I don't even know if you can hear the motor running on the phone, but we'll drive it real quick just to give you an idea of how well she's running. It is four-wheel drive, high range and low range with a locking axle. And before, when I've made videos riding inside the vehicle, for some reason it causes an interference in my speaker. So if my voice is a little garbled, I'm sorry. Right here, because of this being a light rear end vehicle, I have found that going up this loose gravel hill, the back end would spin and kick up my gravel. So to keep from just tearing up the gravel on my road, I put it in two-wheel high range to go up this hill. And then there's obviously no spinning and no tearing up of the gravel. And then when I get to the top of the hill, and you can see, I hope it's showing up on camera, right there is the red light is saying my seat belt is not buckled. And then the green light is the four-wheel drive. And then right here is a light for axle lock. I'm going to take it out of four-wheel drive now. And the axle lock stays engaged, so I have to manually turn it off. Now I'm back in two-wheel drive. Geared very low. It turns some high RPMs. But based on the research I've done, that doesn't seem to bother these vehicles. They are made to turn a high RPM. So I'm in second gear right now on a very rough, bumpy gravel road, and hopefully you can tell by the camera that it's not riding rough at all. It rides real well. Pull up here to the hill and make a little U-turn. Hopefully you can see the Blue Ridge Mountains there in front of us, where the farm is right at the base of the Blue Ridge. So we have some real nice views. Roll the window down. If you've been following my videos, you know that I am purchasing more land adjoining mine. And there's our new property pin right there. That's our new corner, and hopefully you can see going through the woods, the orange flagging, that's our new property line. And we're having the closing in a few days. And all of that we're going to be cleaning up. And we're going to be digging a pond out there. We've got 2 or 3 springs down in that hole, and we're going to be digging a pond down there. So stay tuned. We'll be using this truck along with the Harbor Freight trencher to dig the pond. Second gear, I've got the window rolled down. Third gear, I can't even get up speed to get to fourth gear here. I never get above third gear around the farm. Out on the highway, I've driven it on the highway, and it does, well, I just went to fourth gear instead of second gear. It does real well there. Hopefully you can see the mountains over there. It does real good on the highway. It'll cruise along 50, 55 miles an hour with no problem. Haven't hauled a heavy load on the highway yet. I'll be doing that soon because I'm going to be getting more gravel to go in this driveway. So that'll be coming up soon. I'll try to make a video showing how heavy a load. The dump is rated for a ton, 2,000 pounds. The truck itself, I'm not sure if the tires and suspension will haul a ton comfortably. So I'm going to do some test runs on that to see if it will actually haul a ton. I figure I might try a half a ton and see how these tires hold up. I may not go to a heavier load until I get a heavier tire on there. But we'll see. We'll do a little experimenting. I'm going to do some digging with the Harbor Freight trencher and loading this thing and with some clay here on the farm and drive it around and test it. The rock quarry is just a few miles up the road, so I'll be able to run up there and get some gravel. And I'll try to make some videos of that so everyone can see just what kind of load, what kind of work the Suzuki Carry will do. But there you are, a quick walk around and drive of our newest member of the Double M Farm, Little Red's big brother, our little brother, Dumpy. And we think he's going to give us a lot of good work here on the farm. And I appreciate you joining me here today. And I invite you to come back. You can do some research and look and find other videos. We have the introduction video of this, and we have a lot of videos of Little Red, the Harbor Freight trencher backhoe. and some other things that you may find interesting or you may not. So choose to watch at your own risk. So again, I appreciate you visiting us here on the Double M Farm, and I'll talk to you again real soon.